fluorescent lights flickered like dying fireflies, casting eerie shadows across the empty corridors. It was past midnight, and the only sound that echoed through the station was the soft hum of the air conditioner. I sat at my desk, weary eyes fixed on the mountain of paperwork in front of me. Another long night ahead, or so I thought. A call crackled through the radio, breaking the silence like a gunshot in a cemetery. Unit 12, come in. We've got a 1031 at the old Peterson place. Possible break-in. I sighed, pushing away the paperwork as I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. The Peterson place had a reputation in our small town, whispered tales of its dark history circulating amongst the locals. But I was a cop, and superstitions were the least of my worries. The drive to the Peterson place was filled with an uncomfortable silence, broken only by the occasional crackle of the radio. As I pulled up to the decrepit mansion, a chill ran down my spine. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the overgrown lawn and boarded-up windows. I stepped out of the car, my hand resting on the cold steel of my gun. The front door hung open like the yawning mouth of a beast, inviting me into its belly. With each step I took, the shadows seemed to grow darker, swallowing the feeble light of my flashlight. The air inside was thick with dust and decay, the stench of rot clinging to the walls like a sinister perfume. I swept my flashlight around, illuminating the abandoned furniture and peeling wallpaper. There was no sign of forced entry, no indication that anyone had been here recently. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing through the empty halls. "Is anyone here?" Silence greeted me in return, broken only by the sound of my own footsteps. I pressed on, the weight of the darkness pressing down on me like a lead blanket. Every creak of the floorboards sent shivers down my spine. Every shadow seemed to twist and contort in the corners of my vision. Suddenly, a whisper echoed through the darkness, so faint I could barely make out the words. "Help me!" I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Was someone else here? Or was it just my imagination playing tricks on me? I strained my ears, listening for any sign of movement. "Help me," the voice whispered again, closer this time. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, a haunting melody that sent chills down my spine. I followed the sound, my footsteps echoing through the halls like a death knell. It led me deeper into the mansion, down twisting corridors and up winding staircases. The air grew colder with each step, my breath misting in front of me like a ghostly apparition. And then I saw her, a figure standing at the end of the hallway, bathed in the sickly glow of the moonlight. She was young, no more than a teenager, her face pale and drawn with fear. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the pounding of my heart. "You have to help me. He's coming!" Before I could respond, a shadow fell across the hallway, dark and malevolent. I turned, my hand reaching for my gun, but there was nothing there. Just an empty hallway, stretching out into the darkness like a yawning abyss. I stumbled back, my heart racing, as I tried to make sense of what I had just seen. Had it been real, or just a trick of the light? But then I heard it, the sound of footsteps echoing through the darkness like the approach of a predator. They grew louder with each passing second, drawing closer and closer, until they were right behind me. I spun around, my gun drawn and ready, but there was nothing there. Just an empty hallway swallowed by the darkness. And then, a voice whispered in my ear, so close I could feel its icy breath against my skin. "You shouldn't have come here, officer. This is our domain now." I turned, my flashlight illuminating the empty hallway, but there was nothing there. Just the whispering shadows dancing in the darkness like specters from a nightmare. And then the lights went out, plunging me into an abyss of darkness so complete I could barely see my own hand in front of my face. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest as I searched desperately for an escape. But there was none. The darkness had consumed me, body and soul. And then I heard it. The whispers, growing louder and louder until they were a deafening roar, filling my mind with an unholy chorus. I screamed, the sound echoing through the empty halls like a cry for help that would never come. And then silence.